Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Bulbus7772 and today I'm going to be bringing you a review of Star Wars Lords of the Sith by Paul S Kemp. So without further ado, let's get started. So I just recorded like a half-hour long review of this and I figured I should probably shorten it. So I'm just going to kind of give the gist of what this book's about. As you can see on the cover, Vader and Palpatine are there, you know, kicking some butt. What you've probably read from the description is Vader and Palpatine are like stranded and have to rely on each other to survive. Well, that's kind of true, but I would say that only about maybe a third of the book is from Palpatine and Vader's point of view. I would say the other 2/3 are from the kind of hero's point of view. And then there's a couple of characters who have like a little bit of the book to themselves, but I'll get into that later. So who are the characters in this book? Well, Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine, you know them. In this book, they are stranded pretty much with these two royal guards. Turns into one royal guard at the end, spoiler alert, and have to make their way off planet, which the planet is Ryloth. Now, the royal guard who we really should care about is a sergeant, and his name is Dees. He is just, you know, kind of a human who tried out for to be a royal guard and got in and is extremely loyal to Palpatine. He has ink all over his face. Vader had thought that if he was a clone, his nickname probably would have been Ink. Which I kind of found a little bit humorous that he thought back to that, and also kind of found it really nice that he had called back to the clone troopers and didn't just like completely repress the memories of them. There's also a captain of the Royal Guard, which was a clone trooper, and the only reason I'm bringing that up, because he didn't have a name and he ended up dying, was that it's interesting to see that the clones are probably doing some different stuff in this. You know, Cody might still be around in the Empire, Bakara might still be around in the Empire, Jet might still be around. You know, some of the clones that we knew from the Clone Wars may still be around and working in the Empire. Aside from them, the other kind of Imperial characters we have is, one of them is named Mors. She is kind of in charge of the whole Ryloth operations, but she is incredibly lazy and not very trustworthy, as she's doing, you know, kind of illegal dealings with Hutts. She is doing drugs. She is just, you know, all around being a very not responsible leader for a planet. She has a bunch of Twi'lek slaves too, and she's just not very responsible. We figure out later that the reason she's not very responsible, you know, once again spoilers, is because her wife had ended up dying a long time ago, and that kind of got her down. I didn't really like this character, especially at the beginning. She kind of got a little bit better at the end, and like toward the very end, she kind of redeemed herself a little bit. I started liking her, but I was not really rooting for her at all throughout this. Like, I wanted her to live, but I kind of wanted the Empire to like take her and be like, wow, you're lazy, you are getting extremely demoted, or like, you're going to jail, or, you know, you're not going to be in charge anymore, we're going to be keeping an extra careful eye on you, type thing. Because the person she left in charge was Belcor. Now, Belcor is, while Mors is kind of chilling on the moon, Belcor is actually kind of in charge of the planet. Now, his job on the planet is to keep peace, and they've had these Twi'lek freedom fighter groups trying to fight for peace on Ryloth. Spoiler alert, led by Cham Syndulla from the Clone Wars, aka Hera Syndulla's father. We'll get into that in a minute though. So Belcor is actually working with Cham and his group and feeding them information so that they can do attacks and they can make Mors look worse, so that hopefully Belcor can get her position of power. Now, this all backfires on Belcor, and I feel really bad for him, actually, because Cham's like, yo, bro, we've been using you the whole time. We've been filming these meetings. We have so much dirt on you that you have to help us and do exactly what we say from now on. Otherwise, we turn these tapes over to the Empire, and you end up dying. So he's like, fine. So what they get him to do is they're trying to take out the Star Destroyer, which Cham ends up doing, but uses Belcor's help. little does Belcor know, though Cham and his team knows, that Vader and Palpatine are on this ship. The reason Palpatine and Vader came on the ship to Ryloth, they came with Orn Free Taa because they figured that somebody in Orn Free Taa's group, either Taa himself or one of his men who serves with them, was a traitor to the Empire. Now they figured out, Vader suggested that Orn Free Taa was loyal first to himself, second to Ryloth, and third to the Empire. However, we learned that he was not the traitor. Or, you know, as of what we know, he's not the traitor, because they never really mentioned who the traitor was, unless it was Belcor, and I just totally missed that. But, the ship pretty much goes down because of Cham Syndulla, and they note that it was like one of the first times that they had ever heard of a Star Destroyer being destroyed. Now, I found this interesting because in the old canon, it happened quite a bit, and aside from that, it has happened in Rebels, it's happened in the Clone Wars. You know, Imperial Star Destroyers have just been going down like crazy. Have you seen the new Episode 7 trailer? But, you know, jokes aside, I found it interesting that they were saying that, oh, this was almost unheard of, because that either means that the Empire is trying to cover it up, or it actually hadn't happened before this point. And I believe this is like 8 years after Revenge of the Sith or something. Before we go any more into the plot, let's go into the other main characters. So there's some Twi'lek freedom fighters. There's some people, Gobi, he's from the Clone Wars. He's that blue Twi'lek who was with Cham. He wasn't really a main character, but he was there. He was part of the freedom fighters, and he was one of Cham's right-hand men. There were like 4 of them, though. And then he also had like Isval, which was my second favorite character in the book after Cham, and she was this kind of how do I describe it? She was this freedom fighter who worked with Cham, and she really respected Cham, but her way of getting things done and Cham's way of getting things done were drastically different. If I were to compare them to something that would make this easier to understand, then I would say that if they were force sensitive and had to pick a side, Cham would be a great choice for a Jedi, and Isval would be a great choice for a Sith, just because, you know, Isval is kind of she gets things done, but she does it like she wants to kill the Empire. Like throughout the whole book, she wants Vader dead, because like at the beginning, spoiler alert again, Vader killed one of her friends, and she was saddened by her friend's death, but her first thought foremost on her mind was, I want to bring Vader down. I want Vader dead because of what he did to this, or to my friend. Whereas Cham was like kind of in disbelief and just really saddened, and he wanted Vader to die too, but his reasoning is, if we take out the head of the Empire, then they are going to crumble under him, and that's going to be a big blow. So Cham and Isval are like, we have to kill Vader and the Emperor. There's also some characters. There's a human who was with Isval throughout the whole time. I believe it was a girl. She was a pilot, and her name started with F. Completely forgot what her name was, though. She ended up surviving. Gol ended up surviving. And Gobi ended up surviving. I'll tell you the fates of the main characters later in the review. But they all ended up living, which is cool. Pretty much what happens is Vader and the Emperor crash, and Mors goes to this communication relay that Isval has destroyed, tells them to get it fixed, and says, we are going to head out to look for Vader and Palpatine. So she goes and takes a group of people to try to find them, to save them. Belcor is out looking for Mors, Palpatine, and Vader, because he wants to kill them so that the blame won't fall back to him, because Mors is already starting to suspect Belcor of treason. While they're doing that, those guys are doing that, Vader, Palpatine, and Sergeant Dees, which is a Royal Guard, are all just trying to survive with the captain of the Royal Guard, who ends up actually dying. And then Cham and Isval are trying to find Vader and Palpatine to kill them the entire time. Well, pretty much what happens at the end is Morris gets the communication back online. Vader contacts her, so she's heading to Vader, Palpatine, and Deez. They're in the middle of this Twi'lek village. That Vader saved the Twi'lek's life so that hopefully they could get out, which worked for Vader but was bad for the Twi'leks. Because, Cham and Isval and Gol all end up finding Vader and them, but they see that they're in the middle of a village. Well, the communications get back online. Belcor's like, I'm going to come kill you all, even you, Cham, because you used me. I figured out that I'm going to die because of you, so the only way to not die is to kill Vader, Palpatine, and Morris. Plus, I want to bring you down because you're a jerk to me, which, you know, he was. I felt so bad for Belcor. Turns out Morris intercepted him, was like, no, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to pay for your for what you did wrong. I'm gonna have to pay for it too, but yours is more immediate. Yours is happening now. You've got to pay now. I will pay later. So she ends up killing Belcor by blowing him out of the sky. She then goes down to help Vader and Palpatine, and Cham is like, great, we have to get the Twi'lek villagers out. Let's set flares to get them out. And they're like, we'll lose the element of surprise on Vader and Palpatine. And goes, I know, but we still need to do it. It's the honorable thing to do. So they start shooting up in the air. The Twi'lek people start running. Vader, the Emperor, and Deez take their stand, while Morris and the Imperials are circling around. Now, a couple of cool things here, which I'll kind of go into more detail about this in a minute, is that Palpatine doesn't want really anyone to know that he has the Force. No one can really know. The only exceptions, and when I say only exceptions, I mean the only exceptions of people knowing he can use the Force are Vader, the Royal Guards, and anyone he intends to kill, because he'll, you know, use it on you if he either like can really trust you with the information, which would be his Royal Guards and Vader, or if he knows that you won't talk, so, you know, he'll have to kill you. So Vader and Deez is kind of standing back and protecting the Emperor. Vader's up there just deflecting every shot from Gol, Cham, and Isval. A couple of the themes which I'll get into in a minute are Cham is a great leader to start a rebellion, and Isval thinks that there needs to be a rebellion started after this. They go through the whole book and finally decide, both of them decide at the end, kind of in part, but before this part, that yeah, there is this freedom fighter thing on Ryloth is going to turn into a rebellion, and Cham needs to lead it. So Isval kind of realizes that. At the same time, she realizes that they can't kill Vader. He is too good. So she's like, one of the other kind of themes is they need to think their escape plan. So Isval is like, okay, Cham, I thought of an escape plan. And she looks at Gol and is like, Gol, get Cham out of here. I'm going to hold you off. And Cham's like, wait, what? That you aren't coming with us? She goes, yeah, the escape plan isn't for me, it's for you. And then she's looking, well, I can't even speak. She's like, Cham, you need to start the rebellion. And Cham's like, no, I can't leave you. Blah, blah, blah goes on for that. And then she's like, Gol, you know that this is true. You need to get Cham out of here. And Gol realizes it's true, so tries to get Cham out. And Cham is like fighting. He's like, no, I'm not going to leave her. And then Isval is like, Cham, I love you. And I was like, oh, no, they're going to kill her now. That's messed up. So Cham ends up escaping with Gol, which I really liked. The ending battle is a little bit anticlimactic, but it was alright. So Isval kind of holds off Vader. She starts getting choked by him and then blacks out. So we cut to Cham on the ship, and he is so depressed that Isval is dead, and he's like, I'm going to fight, we're going to start this rebellion, and we are going to do good. Next thing we know, Isval is still alive in front of Vader, and this gave me hope. The second I saw Isval was alive, I was like, yes! And I put the bookmark in my book and just waited to read for a while, just taking it in like, okay, thank goodness that they didn't kill Isval off. Turns out at the end of this little chapter thing at the end, they do kill her, and my break was for nothing, and that was very, very sad and kind of a mean trick. Vader decapitates her, and then Vader pretty much slaughters the entire village of Twi'leks. So that's pretty much the story of the book. So some things I took away from this. is that first of all, no one really knows that Vader is Anakin. Second of all, nobody knows that Palpatine has the Force, minus Vader and Palpatine's Royal Guards. Next thing is the Royal Guards can be pretty much anyone. Well, I say pretty much anyone. All I've seen so far are human males to be the Royal Guards. But the captain here was a clone, and the other guy was just, a guy. And I don't know, I don't know if the Royal Guards, I don't think that they're, making them, they can only be white males. I'm pretty sure with the new canon, they can be any race of human and male. Maybe they can be female, I don't know. We haven't seen any female Royal Guards yet. But it was interesting to see a clone as a Royal Guard and a captain at that. Next thing I want to note is that Isval helped some Twi'lek girls out who were slaves. She freed them from their Imperial holders, usually killed the Imperials, set the Twi'leks up with a nice home, some money, and gave them like a new life to where they could actually live. Isval was very kind of violent and wanted all Imperials dead, which I totally understand from her backstory as being a slave and everything, but she is like kind of very dark-minded. Cham, on the other hand, is very noble and wants things to be done extremely valiantly. So it was kind of interesting to see the interactions with those two characters. Some other things of note: they took down a Star Destroyer. Let's see. There were Lilacs in this book that were attacking Palpatine and Vader and all them. I'm not sure if they were from the old canon or if they're new or whatnot. Cham actually, I think, because they didn't really confirm this, but it's strongly hinted at that Cham Syndulla, or Hera's father, is one of the founders of the rebellion, and I'm really hoping that that turns out to be true, that they, make future books on that, that maybe it happens in Star Wars Rebels. We can see some more of Cham Syndulla, because I really like his character. He is amazing. Cham Syndulla is one of my favorite Star Wars characters from the new canon. He's just really awesome. So I guess that's kind of it that I need to mention. This book has the first LGBT character in the new Star Wars canon. There are obviously some in the old Star Wars canon, like I believe her name was Juhani from KOTOR. If you played as like a female Revan, which is non-canon, you could start a love interest with her. If not, she had like a old love interest with some other chick in the game. So there have been LGBT characters in Star Wars before, but of the new canon, this is the first one. So that was really cool, except for they made her character a total waste. She was extremely lame, and I was very disappointed with her character. I liked kind of the redemption that her character had, though, but all in all, I just would not root for her character. I rooted for the character Belcor throughout the whole time. I rooted for Cham Syndulla. I rooted for Isval, and I rooted for, I believe, Deez. But Morris was just a character I did not root for. I was kind of disappointed in her, and how we knew that she's an LGBT character is because they talked about her wife dying, which explained why she was a drug addicted alcoholic and dealt with people from the underworld. But that's pretty much it for this book. It was a really good book. I highly recommend getting it. I would say that it could be considered a continuation for the Clone Wars, since it had Cham Syndulla in it. It could be argued that it could be a Clone Wars-esque style book, just with Vader and Palpatine in it, and obviously after Episode 3. But it was really good. I absolutely loved it. It is actually tied for my favorite in the new canon of books, which of the 4 new books out so far, I really enjoyed 3 of them and really did not enjoy 1 of them. There haven't been any that I've just it's okay, but it wasn't the best, but it wasn't awful. The closest to that would be Here to the Jedi, because I really liked it, but it was still kind of mediocre. With Lords of the Sith and A New Dawn, they are both tied for my favorites of the new canon and are just very incredible. So if you want to start reading Star Wars books, I would jump in now, because this is a perfect time to. And Lords of the Sith is one of the best Star Wars books from the new canon so far. I would give it a 5 out of 5. But yeah, I've been rambling too long about this. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe for more content for Star Wars reviews and that kind of stuff. And until next time, Boba7772 out.